and get together with loved ones, would go further and say that people who are fully vaccinated should be able to travel, should be encouraged to travel. And that's one of those incentives that we can give as a way for restoring freedoms, that you are now able to travel and go visit your loved ones and go to museums and cultural institutions once you're fully vaccinated.
So before we try to unpack this, remember the prior dust-up between the White House political wing and the scientists at the CDC. A month ago, Press Secretary Jen Psaki downplayed the CDC director's comments about reopening schools, saying those were her personal views, not official CDC guidance. The Biden White House insists every decision it makes is based on sound science, not politics. But the Washington Post reported that when it comes to reopening schools, Biden's administration is having a tough time signing on to the scientific conclusion of those same officials. So now, as vaccinated Americans find out they still shouldn't travel to see their friends or family, and that it's only okay to visit unvaccinated people in the same house as long as they have no risk factors, we learned that the CDC changed its vaccine guidance after meeting with administration officials. From Politico, the CDC guidance for vaccinated people was originally slated to be published March 4th, but was put on hold 2 days before after a series of meetings and calls between health and communications officials. So Politico goes on to report an email forwarded to CDC Director Rochelle Walensky concerned health officials who feared that the administration was interfering in their work. An early draft of the new CDC vaccine guidelines reportedly included a section on travel, which was later pulled. The CDC director was just asked why the vaccinated should not travel yet.
So we really want to make sure, again, with just 10% of people vaccinated, that we are limiting travel. We're avoiding the upcoming surge just as we're trying to get more and more people vaccinated.
Hello and welcome to Fox News at Night. I'm Shannon Bream in Washington. And speaking of travel, it is time for spring break in Florida, among other places. Chief breaking news correspondent Trace Gallagher is on the case for us tonight. Good evening, Trace.
Shannon, good evening. As a way to prevent students from gathering in warm weather vacation spots, many colleges and universities canceled spring break altogether this year. But you need only look at beaches in Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and other Florida coastal towns to see that many colleges did not cancel spring break. Here's a quick sample. Watch.
Yeah! We love Miami. We out here. I'm from Boston. I'm from New York. Yes, sir. 4 hours away. I'm in New York.
Yeah. For example, Miami Beach, which sent spring breakers home early last year, is again putting out the welcome mat with limits. Here's the mayor, who's a Democrat. Listen.
If you're coming here to go nuts, if you're coming here to let loose, if you think anything goes is what we want, you're very mistaken. We have lots of rules.
Lots of rules and lots of code compliance officers to enforce those rules, including limits on loud music, curfews in certain areas, and capacity regulations on the beaches themselves. Up the road in Fort Lauderdale, business owners and local leaders are happy to see the crowds return because crowds bring revenue. Many local businesses badly need the revenue. But while the bikinis, beers, and beaches draw the big headlines, medical experts are not as concerned about outdoor fun as they are about crowded indoor fun, meaning jam-packed homes and bars. And while it's tough to police private homes, the local bars will maintain a 50% capacity limit. And it's notable that flights to Florida and hotels are cheap. In fact, we found a one-way ticket from Los Angeles to Orlando for $50. Meantime, spring gatherings for older Americans also getting a boost from the CDC, which now says fully vaccinated people can visit other vaccinated people without masks or social distancing as long as they don't have to travel to get there. But it's a step in the right direction because just a few weeks ago, Dr. Anthony Fauci said vaccinated grandparents should not see their vaccinated grandkids. Dr. Nicole Saphier says this new guidance changes all of that. Watch.
All of the companies are now showing if you're fully vaccinated, not only are you likely to not be hospitalized, not die from this illness, but you are less likely to transmit it to other people. And that's huge news. This is truly following the science with these recommendations.
So Easter with the grandparents might happen if they're local. Shannon.
Okay, a lot to weed through there, and a lot of folks told me today, this is what we've been doing anyway, so I don't know how strictly people are following the CDC. but they're there to give advice, and we'll try to see what it's based on. Trace, thank you.
Okay.